We're talking about the presidential campaign of Governor Ron Desantis of Florida. It is now official. He opened his run for the White House with a Twitter video last night. That part pretty traditional, but it was followed by an online event with Twitter CEO Elon Musk, and that was plagued by technical issues. It led to mockery from other candidates, including President Biden and, no surprise here, former President Donald Trump. Robert Costa.
It's so good. I mean, this entire thing was so broken from the jump. And a lot of people, myself included, called it out from a mile away. One of the main problems was relying on Elon Musk, who is a notorious con man. Okay? You thought Elon Musk, owner of Twitter, which he bought for $44 billion, was going to be able to give you a, entire platform without any sort of complications. Elon was just using you, Ron DeSantis, as a way to market his platform. That's what he was doing. For the most part, that's what he's trying to do. That's why he's doing the whole Tucker Carlson shit too. However, because he has fired half of the workforce and the people that actually, hold this thing together, the audio-only Ron DeSantis press release on his announcement failed spectacularly, and everyone with 3.5 brain cells saw it from a mile away. That's it. Twitter has always failed for video. Twitter has always failed for spaces. It was so obvious that it was going to fail, and you're an absolute dumbass for, one, trying to do this gimmick to begin with. This idea that I'm going to do my release on Twitter Spaces, or instead of having it televised from a physical place where there's an entire audience here. You try to do this stupid gimmick, and it failed spectacularly. It was, of course, going to fail. It was slated to fail. The audio in and of itself and the audio quality in and of itself was already absolutely disastrous, even when it did work. And the reality is that it never really fully worked anyway. And now they're licking their wounds, and because the broader audience is really f***ing stupid, they'll also kind of go along with it. But I think that people are cognizant of the reality that there are a bunch of websites that actually work normally, right? That would have been able to hold a much, much larger audience with no problems. I clicked in on it at 60,000 watchers to the space. The number started shooting up. It got all the way up to, I believe, 600,000. In the first 10, 15, 20 minutes, there was no audio. And when there was actually audio, it was just like Elon Musk hot micing, talking about the servers are, I think, blown up. What's going on? They're blowing up the servers. Or Elon Musk not muting himself, sitting across from David Sachs, who was supposed to be the host of the show this time around, and, hearing double audio and mic feedback. It was just a major disaster. And it was a very expected major disaster. And now they're trying to turn this disaster into a positive thing by saying we broke the internet. No, man, you broke a broken product. It was a case of double failure. What do I mean by this? It was a failure because it exposed that Twitter is being held together by ticker tape, and it is not a platform that you can utilize for audio and video. It exposed that Elon Musk is a gigantic idiot for thinking that he could be able to pull this off, something that many other platforms like YouTube and Twitch do on a daily basis with video and audio. I mean, Kick would have done a better job. Okay? Jeff Bezos got Twitch for $970 million. Musk paid $44 billion for Twitter. Dumbest billionaire. Oh, 100%. And it also exposed that Ron DeSantis was an idiot too for trusting Elon Musk and for even thinking that a Twitter announcement would actually be anything but a gimmick. Because even if this worked flawlessly, it still would have been an abject failure because it was on Twitter. There's a reason why people follow old school principles in a lot of instances. I'm no fan of legacy media, but I often will be the first to admit that legacy media still has the power to consolidate viewership due to how limited the number of TV stations that exist. TV stations also have a built-in audience. If your goal is to reach the broadest audience possible as a presidential campaign announcement, it doesn't matter if you're doing it on radio. It doesn't matter if you're doing it on YouTube. It doesn't matter if you're doing it on TV. Your goal is to reach as many eyeballs successfully. And they failed dramatically, spectacularly. They couldn't even broadcast this to 600,000 viewers. It bricked at 400K. That is laughable for anyone who understands the internet, okay? Radio has been successfully broadcasting to hundreds of millions of concurrent listeners since 1885, okay, or 1895, whenever the radio was invented. Get the out of here. Trying to turn this around and make it seem as though this is somehow unique is so stupid. It was not the biggest event that anyone has ever seen online. Maybe it was the biggest failure in launching political campaigns. That much I will agree to. But it was completely idiotic to see it as anything but an abject failure. But there are a lot of idiots out there. A lot of them are David Sachs fans. A lot of those idiots are Elon Musk fans. And maybe some of them are Ron DeSantis fans as well. I said Elon Musk broke the internet. Meanwhile, this shit broadcasts audio to hundreds of millions daily since 1895. Multicast versus unicast back comparison. Stream to that then. I doubt very much in 2033 the amount of people listening to broadcast radio on a daily basis would number in the hundreds of millions. I might be wrong, but I don't think the radio was connected to a server that generated traffic by hundreds of millions of users. I didn't know radio was powered through internet. No one really listens to that anymore. Like, brother, are you stupid? Are you this stupid? Ultimately, you're a listener, okay? You're not the tech guy. The goal for a presidential announcement is to reach as many people as possible. And they failed to do that. Ron DeSantis, if he was willing and able to do audio-only release, he could have just gone to radio. No, you were right. Estimated 3 billion people listen to radio at least once a week just a couple years ago. Yeah, radio still has like a tremendous amount of reach that a lot of people forget. As a matter of fact, you know who shouldn't forget that radio has a tremendous amount of reach? Right-wingers, because they literally still consume radio content. A lot of people don't realize this, but like Alex Jones, Rush Limbaugh, rest in piss, and even Glenn Beck are major players in the conservative talk space, which absolutely still very much is viable and exists, and people make money off of it too. America's car-reliant infrastructure has created a viable avenue, a viable medium. Ron DeSantis is only a notable figure in the national Republican movement or the Republican Party in the audiences in general, is because of how much he has tailored himself around Trump. How much he has tried to make himself basically Donald Trump. DeSantis' bio on his campaign website is a 404 page not found. This entire campaign is literally on fire. They got $87 million originally, and they can't even redirect it back into their own direct campaign coffers, and instead have to utilize super PACs, which of course are not connected to the campaign, which is part of the reason why they have to like keep farming donors. Ron DeSantis' entire campaign is supposed to be super PAC funded, which is a little bit unique in this day and age. I guess it's going to be more commonplace in the future, but it basically says like, oh, we are not going to get individual donors. We're most likely going to get just corporate donors and wealthy mega donors to like float this campaign through and through. That's part of the reason why when you don't have like direct campaign funds, you can't hire people. And if you can't hire people to do this kind of shit, you know, ultimately it's going to be a major failure. That's where we're at with Ron DeSantis' campaign. They're trying to go along with the whole, like, we broke Twitter. It's like, that's so dumb. It peaked at 300K, which doesn't break the first page in relation to top Twitch streams. Yeah. I mean, I have peaked at, like, what, 270K, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or 250K, something like that. You know, the fact that, like, my peak of concurrent viewership is, like, close to Ron DeSantis on Twitter, who's using the entire website to his advantage here, is crazy, okay? CNN's town hall with Trump averaged 3.3 million concurrent viewers. Concurrent viewers are not equal to total viewers. They measure different things. Twitter's stream crashed with just a few 100,000 concurrent listeners. Ultimately, when it was working, it had 200K. Exactly. More liberal propaganda. Yeah, these people are just going to always go, la, 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 I can't hear you. I'm too stupid to understand what you're saying. But there are people who should be a little bit smarter, like David Sachs is a dumbass, but at least he should be smart enough to know that this was an abject failure. But because he can't take Elon Musk's dick out of his mouth but to talk, he's going to, of course, try to turn this situation, which is an abject failure, I have to mention this again, into a positive somehow.
Joining me now.
And the positive is what? That Twitter is incapable of hosting something that like every other video and audio platform is capable of doing.
Exclusively is the man who moderated DeSantis' 2024 launch tonight on Twitter, David Sachs. He's also the partner at Craft Ventures and co-host of the All In podcast, a big entrepreneur. David, great to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us. Now, we're going to get to Governor DeSantis' vision, especially like ripping apart the bureaucracy in a moment. But the question on everyone's mind, including my daughters tonight, is what happened? I mean, you handled it so well. much better than I would have. But what happened at the top?
Well, what happened at the top, Laura, is just we had 1 million people simultaneously trying to get into a Twitter space, which is an online room.
No, you didn't.
And, I mean, Desantis just melted the servers. We had so much interest.
No, you didn't. And it doesn't even matter. Even if it was 1 million people, the fact that you can't handle 1 million people watching is insane. How does anybody listen to this and go, wait a minute, that's like really stupid? People do this all the time. This was hilarious. Everyone, wow, he shit his pants. Elon, yes, but everybody saw it. New York Times calls DeSantis announcement a fiasco. NBC News calls it a meltdown. The Washington Post calls it awkward. Politico calls it horrendous. I call it massive attention. Top story on earth today. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to fix the brains of people who look to what Elon Musk said here and see it as a gigantic own. I do think that this is indicative of how stupid a lot of people are. Like, it doesn't make sense. You can't do all press is good press when the press is literally saying your shit sucks, dog. Your shit sucks. I don't know. It is such an obvious failure. Like, Elon Musk basically pissed, shitted, and farted in his doo-doo ass diapers in front of millions of people, and he turned around and like laid around in that piss, shit, and fart and said, goo goo gaga, look, everyone's laughing at me, but at least people are laughing and they know who I am. And it's like, Elon is dumb and he's going to say this shit, right? That's fine. But how the fuck do people that still love him look to this and go, yeah, he's brilliant? I just don't understand it, and it hurts my soul. Like, people think like, oh, we're owning you, libtard, by loving Elon Musk. And they don't realize that, like, I don't give a shit. You can love Elon Musk all you want. It just boggles my mind that you are still this stupid, that you cannot comprehend that this dude is a charlatan. I feel like I'm the crazy one when I see so many people express admiration for this guy who keeps flubbing in the most public fashion.
I mean, I got to hand it to him. Normally it takes a Kardashian to do that. So we just had so much interest. It took about 15 minutes. We've never had that level of scale before on Twitter.
I hate these cretins, man. They're so stupid. Like, we need like a better word than stupid to describe a cretin like David Sachs. You know what I mean? Because stupid doesn't cut it. Idiot doesn't cut it. You know what I mean? Like, I need something more powerful. Obviously, we're not going to be ableist, but I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Biggest room's been around 100,000. And so after about 15 minutes, we just moved the room to my account from Elon's account, and then it really worked perfectly. I think if your viewers want to go on Twitter, the recording is going viral right now. They're going to wonder what all the fuss is about, because once we got started, the audio was perfect, and I think
No, man, no one is going to wonder what the fuss is about, because everybody saw the failure. Significantly more people saw the failure than they watched the second audio component. Like, the fact that it was an audio only broadcast in and of itself is already stupid. You can't dance around it and be like, nah, dog, this major failure was actually really sick.
The governor
it was a big W.
Was totally unflappable. And I think one thing I learned about him from this is that once we did get started, and we were, about 15, 20 minutes late, there was no hint of anger or irritation on his part. He was in a great mood. He was, like I said, cool. And
wow, he did a good job of working through the massive failure. Hey, dog, he's an idiot, okay? He's dumb enough to think that, like, you and Elon Musk could have done a good job of doing a campaign announcement.
Really, I think made a great impression as someone who doesn't get thrown off his game very easily.
No, he certainly doesn't. And again, other people would have been really unhappy. This kind of thing has happened to me a lot, David, so I'm kind of laughing because I'm very empathetic when this kind of stuff happens. I'm glad it happens to Elon Musk because he's a lot smarter than a lot of people like me on technology.
Now that we've talked about, like, the logistical failure of this launch, okay, another part about this was so stupid. They mostly spent the time glazing Elon Musk. And when they weren't glazing Elon Musk, they talk about Dogecoin and cryptocurrency and like other random podcaster related issues. Like, it was so bad.
Vision.
I hope that like this opens the eyes of a lot of people who just, I don't know why, assume that these guys are smart for the sake of like other people saying that they're smart.